This is Michelangelo Badio, and Lesson 4 is a recap of Lessons 1, 2, and 3. Now let's start again from tuning. Now you're just really getting into guitar. It's not that necessary to know how to tune by ear at first. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to literally have to go. Now, yeah, it was good to learn that, but we have tuners nowadays that I didn't have when I was a kid. So you literally can just clip on a tuner. You can set it to tune, just the strings of a guitar. You can make it what's called chromatic. So if you know E, but it's very simple to use. I mean, I use tuners all the time. I've got one here on my pedal board. And we are tuned to standard pitch. And when you hear somebody saying A440, that would be the fifth string on a guitar open, what they mean is 440 vibrations per second. Sound is much, much slower than the speed of light. You can actually take a note like this, and if you slow it down, you can watch and see how it vibrates. The slower the note vibrates, the lower the sound. The lower the sound, the more the sound carries. And so it's very, very simple. So, and what you want to do is when you tune up, it doesn't matter that you don't have to learn how to tune. Your ear will help you later. That's not important. The important thing is to have a guitar that's in tune. Now, we worked on 4 chords, starting from G, G7, C, D7, back to G, and then I showed you the full versions. Now I also said this is so important. You want to think about learning an instrument, and you have 2 parts to this learning. The first part is obviously to get better, to have your technique become better. You want to be able to play what you hear in your head, and what you hear in your head is the other side, the music. Musical people will find a way to make music. I say this over and over, but I can't say it enough. This is why you can learn so many different ways. Don't worry about when people say boxes or you play in patterns. That's a technique. That's a facility to be able to play what you hear in your head. What you hear in your head is the musical part. So when you're learning these exercises and the more chords that you get, our next lesson we're going to start really showing you more. I'm going to start showing you more and more about what you can do with a guitar and what the guitar is capable of. But right now we want to recap to make sure that this lesson focuses on everything that you've had before. And when you learn these chords, play them in a way that's comfortable and feel comfortable with that strum. A lot of that comfort zone comes from being able to feel good about moving that pick up and strumming it upwards. So when you get this, it's very important to feel comfortable doing it, to get a feel, to get used to playing the guitar. So after you do those 4 chords, then you work on the exercise. Now on this exercise, what you want to do is make sure your hands are down when you play it, and don't really worry so much about the picking technique, because we're going to start covering that in later lessons. The main thing is you want to be able to play it, and especially playing it correctly with your fretboard hand. We're really concentrating more on this because once you get that feel of playing in these different positions, your right hand will start to follow. Your picking hand will start to follow. So the recap, 4 chords, tuning, the exercise, and also go over the parts of the guitar. Think about it. This is the body. We have humbucker pickups, humbucking pickups versus single coil, the bridge, the nut, the neck, the headstock, tuning keys, the fine micro adjustments here, because remember, from the nut to here, 12th fret to the bridge is supposed to be the same exact length. Perfection is not attainable, so don't worry about perfection. Set the bar high, get over the bar. And so what they do is they make adjustments here. You really a good luthier to do that, but when you buy a guitar that's good, like a Sawtooth guitar, it already comes set up for you. So you don't have to mess with this. But what it really does is it gets this as close as it can to correct spacing. Now, given that nothing is perfect, different strings will have slightly different spacing here. So when you adjust this, it's not going to be all in one line. You're going to find, you know, it's like zigzag, crisscrossed a little, but it's zigzagged because that's the way they call it intonation. Intonation means if you're in tune here, you're in tune here, like. So that you hear a consistency. So it doesn't sound like. So it doesn't sound like that. And but that's what this does. Now, remember, do it right. Work on this fretboard hand technique. We will work on the picking later, but you will thank me 1,000 times once you see how this all unfolds. Because when you start, like I said earlier, the alphabet from A to Z, we're starting on A. When you start here and you progress, you can keep building and building. It's like starting a home, building a house from the ground up. Who builds a house from the roof down? Well, some people learn music like that, and they can play some great things, but eventually that lack of knowledge, the lack of the foundation, the lack of the fundamentals will hurt you. And I don't mean just physically, but it'll hurt you mentally too, because you're going to find roadblocks that could have been avoided if you start and you do it methodically like I'm teaching you. Practice.